loud. Take it away.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, go, go!
I do Prezi video.
Wow, that's cool.
I do Canva.
I do Twitter.
I do OBS 26. I do Slido.
You do what?
I do PowerPoint.
I do live streaming.
I do scrambled eggs.
What do you do? We produce a show.
We do greeters.
We do live reporting.
We do evaluations in breakout rooms.
We do shotgun evaluations.
Hold on, shotgun evaluations?
We do digital communication. Welcome to Digital Communicators.
Welcome to Digital Communicators. It's my great honor and privilege to open up this meeting for you today. We have a welcome that is going to be just with me and you. What I'm going to do is I just want to go and tell you a little bit about this club. I want to thank a few people and we're going to start the meeting with our MC. But first, let's just say a few thanks to the people who have made this club together, to come together. We have had 25 members chartering. We have a total of 36 members now from roughly 12 to 14 countries from 5 continents. And one of the key things is all of you have contributed to our success, to making us be here. We've been chartered now for 6 months, but you've been busy. You've been busy in and outside of the club, doing things in your district, doing things for your region. And today is a celebration for all of you. Congratulations to all our members of Digital Communicators. And I just want to say, without you, we have nothing. This is your club. I'd like to particularly thank our club mentors, the wonderful, absolutely original Lois Margolin, Club Growth Director from District 47, and very good friend of us and also a good friend of mine, and I thank you for that friendship. You helped us when we needed our help to get our ideas together and to move on. Well, thank you for that. Azra Muslin as well, another club mentor from Mauritius, and fabulous as well. She helped us get our foundation right. In terms of our first executive board, we have 4 members who are members of that first board who are no longer on the board. And those were Azra Muslim, Olusun Kanmi Olaigbi, Mafazur Rahman, and Vincent Nare. For all 4 of you, thank you for your service. We as a club really appreciated your help and your wisdom and your time. I really want to thank Manchester Communicators, our sisters club. We have members of the club here today. And without your help, we perhaps wouldn't have actually got started. We would have been 3 or 4 months behind. Thank you for you. All of District 71, all the district officers, all the members as well here today. And we have Arnold in the room. Arnold, would you like to say a few words on behalf of District 71?
Yes, well, thank you, Nick. I just want to say I'm really, really happy to see all these happy faces here on in your club. I just hear a little bit of feedback at the moment. I don't know if somebody's microphone is on. However, I just want to say from the DLT, yeah, unfortunately, not everybody was able to come, so I'm here to represent them. And all I want to say is look at that. I just want to congratulate you all, and you have made an amazing decision by going to the next level, by joining this amazing club. And of course, well, I want to say District 71 is not just one club. There are more clubs. However, today we're going to celebrate it. So I keep it short, Nick, because it's your and your team's evening. And I just want to say congratulations and more things to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arnold. Appreciate it. Now let's move on. What I'd like to do from October the 1st is to continue with our club vision and our goals. We're to improve our presentation online, to use digital tools, and actually as part of our presentations, we talked about some of those in our warm-up, but also high-performing teams with high-performing events. That's the aim of our club, is to actually help us practice the skills that are needed for your next job interview, your next job promotion, your next big client. That's what we want to do. We want to be there, be relevant, be out in the real world. And we are recorded and we're being streamed on Twitch at the moment. So what I'd like to do is, with our members' development and our success, I want you to join us, jump in, get busy. This is not a drill. We carry no passengers. With that, I'd like to welcome our MC for the day, the wonderful, the charming, the delectable. Please welcome Toastmaster DTM, Kavita Dulai.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you. And welcome, everybody. So lovely to see you. So we've got a very, very special night for you. We've got the installation ceremony and we have got loads of entertainment. So stay with us, stay energized. We're going to have lots of breaks, dance breaks, all sorts of breaks you can imagine. So we've got poetry, we've got song, we've got keynotes, we've got table topics with a twist. So tonight, it's your night for you to learn, for our members, for everybody. So please stay with us. So the first role of the evening is our timer. We always have a timer, regardless of the meeting. So please welcome Hilary Torn. And just to give you a little bit of background, she is our specialist, our marketeer, CEO. She does the SEO side of things, and she loves digital technology. And the reason is it helps her stay connected with her family. So welcome, Hilary.
Thank you so much. It is my job tonight to make sure that we are on time. So whether you have a prepared speech with a time slot or you're doing table topics, you can watch me. My background will change. Green for when you are hit your mark and have done your allotted time in the speech. Yellow means it's time to wrap up your speech. And red means that you have a warning that you're about to go over time. You usually have about 30 seconds left. So thank you very much. Back to you, Kavita.
Thank you, Hilary. So at Digital Communicators, it's not all about digital, it's about communication as well, at excelling at our communication and writing our speeches. But who better than to have a District 91 champion to come and tell us his speech, his winning speech. So please welcome Ben Sloan. Please welcome Ben Sloan and use all your digital hearts and claps. Please welcome.
Thanks, Kavita. I take it I'm meant to go now.
Yes, go.
Okay, cool. Thanks for having me. You've probably felt lonely at some point. With this beard and haircut, it's safe to say I have. But what would your life be like if you felt lonely all day, every day? Hopefully you don't know what that's like. But in the UK alone, there are 1.4 million people who do. That's the number of elderly people classed as chronically lonely, who regularly go up to 5 days straight without interacting with another human being. Think about that. What if it was a member of your own family who was so crushingly lonely that they were in a medically high-risk bracket for increased chance of dementia, shorter life, even suicide. Every last one of those 1.4 million is part of someone's family. Now, one of the driving forces behind this problem is technology. I don't need to tell you, technology's done many, many great things for us. It's given us this club, after all. But life without technology can feel like one big empty room. And the unwitting victims here are those voiceless masses who aren't tech literate, those who are damned to a life of desperate isolation through no fault of their own, those who don't know how to do things like video call their families, those things that connected us with a lifeline back in lockdown. But in that very problem, there's hope. Because for the first time, technology is also part of the answer. How? Alexa, say hello.
Hello, digital communicators. Hello, Toastmaster Kavita. Voice assistants, like me, can reduce loneliness among vulnerable people.
You heard her. Yes, they can. In a 2018 study, people with care needs at risk of loneliness were given voice assistants for a mere 6 weeks. And in the results of that study, well, here was a new age answer for an old age problem. 3/4 of those people said it had made them feel less lonely and improved the quality of their lives. And me, well, I thought the only cure for loneliness was Tinder. Thankfully not. We all know many older people can't use the devices that we all take for granted here. And that's not their fault. What about someone who's blind and lonely? Because what use is a screen to someone whose world is as dark as that? But these same people can use a voice assistant because it's as simple as speaking. And suddenly, technology connects our disconnected. And that simple lifeline can turn an existence into a life. And you never know, we might even see an audio version of Tinder. But whatever the future holds, a smart speaker is a lot like having someone to talk to right now. Now, of course, like any relationship, it does have its ups and downs, shall we say. Just ask my granddad. You see, his Alexa sometimes struggles with his thick Scottish accent. In the man's own words, for a smart speaker, you know, she's not always very smart. So their conversations go a lot like this. Alexa, remind me to feed the cat.
Okay, in 3 hours, defeat the cat.
No, Alexa, I said feed the cat.
Adding Kit Kats to your shopping list.
Never mind, Alexa, just play some music for us. Play a song by the Police.
Okay, calling the police. Ow.
But look, him and Alexa have worked out their differences over time, and these days he's got her in the palm of his hand. But coming back to a serious point here, several people in the study commented, she's always there when I need someone to talk to. She, not it. Alexa will never replace human interaction. We know that, but it's better than nothing. And all too often, nothing is exactly what our lonely people get. And this gives them more than simple interaction, you know. It gives them independence as well. For those with limited mobility, for example, being able to say things like, Alexa, turn on the lights. I'm sorry if I've turned any of your lights on there, by the way. That simple act puts some power back in their hands, and that is enormously liberating. And so if you do know someone who just might be lonely, just buy them a smart speaker. It's that simple. Of course, you can't guarantee that they'll like it, especially, of course, if they're from Scotland. But there's a 3 in 4 chance you'll positively change their life. And for the price of a meal, isn't it worth taking that chance? Secondly, get in touch with care homes and encourage them to try this themselves. We come here to Toastmasters to improve our communication skills. And I ask you, what are those skills for, if not to affect positive change in the world around us? Even if you're not the most confident speaker, you can speak up for those who can't. So let's use that skill set we share to raise awareness, not as some act of promotion, but as an act of love. Mother Teresa once said that more people are starving for lack of love than lack of bread. And that's never been more true. We're seeing a generation of sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, mums, and dads being written off as if they have an expiry date. I leave you with a message of hope, a message of love, and a message of life. I leave you with the knowledge that we have the power to change that one person at a time, and that together we can give the voiceless a voice.
Thank you so much, Ben. That was such an apt speech, because I can relate to that personally. I'm sure all of you out there can relate to that speech, because I connected with my dad over Zoom. He's 89, and we used to do yoga. So that was my connection. It made such a difference to his life through such a lonely time. So digital technology, yes, keep learning and keep sharing. That's the message. Thank you, Ben. Brilliant. Fantastic. So let's, guys, move on to the next segment of the yes, thank you. Let's move on to our next segment of our meeting. And this is a Q&A with our next president-elect, Matt Kinsey. And it's such a privilege and such an honor to have him here. So thank you, Matt, for joining us here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce Matt to the floor and Nick to the floor. And Nick is going to conduct the Q&A. And please paste any questions into the Q&A. Thank you. Welcome, Matt, and welcome, Nick. Can we spotlight them, please?
Thank you very much, Kavita. Have you got any words to say for Matt?
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. Hopefully I will be able to answer your questions.
Thank you very much, Matt. Now, for those that you don't know, last year we had our international president, Peck. He's been to your club, he's been to every club. Now, this year, we have Margaret Page. We again are ahead of the curve. We've got next year's guy before most of the people know him. Please welcome Matt Kinsey, International President-elect. So please give him a warm hand. There you go. Now, Matt, we want to get to know you. I did ask you what coffee you drank, and you said you didn't. Okay, so that's half my questions out of the window now. So let's get a serious question here. What are you going to bring to the International Toastmasters leadership team this year? And if you can share with us anything briefly about your plans for next year.
Yeah, so this year is the year of starting to rebuild stronger. We are seeing the effects of the pandemic lessen in many ways, although there are still a high number of infections in many places around the world. Here in the United States, we kind of think, oh, it's just us that's experiencing this issue. And then I read The Economist or I read the London Times and I see that there are issues throughout the world, but life is beginning to move forward again. And so we're expecting a lot of good things from a Toastmasters perspective. But how do we rebuild stronger? And what I mean by that is, in general, not 100%, but in general, the people who stayed with Toastmasters, those people who were members before the pandemic, who are still members today, are our most loyal members. They're most dedicated. They're the ones who value the program the most. So we have a higher average strength in our existing membership than perhaps we've had in years. So that means that we can really focus in on how do we make the member experience as strong as it can be. So there are some changes coming to Pathways later this year. You may have seen that announcement, level 1. There'll be a new level 1 for anyone who starts a path after it's introduced. So your existing paths will not be changed. It's not like college where all of a sudden they say you got to go retake a class. You don't have to redo anything. Everything you're doing is still good, but there'll be a new level 1 going forward for all new paths, probably November, December timeframe. We're working on our next interim strategic plan. So that's a big thing. So for next year, we don't know what the needs of the organization are going to be yet. So I'm kind of hesitant because my actions and the actions of the board need to be based on what the organization needs next year. And we have some ideas, but we have to see what actually happens between now and then.
Thank you. Thank you for that. We have a question from the floor from Ami. What can Toastmasters International do to help combat climate change? And let's try and limit that to a very short answer, please.
Yeah.
This is a humdinger, isn't it?
Yeah, well, what I would say is, as an organization, there's not really anything that is not in our remit. I mean, we're certainly being stewards of the environment in the way we operate, allowing digital and pathways rather than shipping manuals all over the world. But it's really the beauty of Toastmasters is people taking the skills and the self-confidence that they learn in Toastmasters and taking that out to the world. So I would put that question back on you, is what can you do using the skills you've learned in Toastmasters to make an impact on climate change? I think that's really the question. I think that's what Dr. Smedley would say. That's not our mission. Our mission is to help you succeed in your mission.
Okay, great. Well, let me ask you about online clubs then. I belong to a number of online clubs, and some of them are small, some of them are very hugely, large and successful. One of the things that we perhaps fear is that all of these online clubs will be expected to join or to be aligned to districts. So, for example, a club like Online Presenters with 57 to 67 members, what benefits them to belong to a district?
Okay, so first, there are no current plans to require online clubs to join a district. Okay, they have the option to join a district, but there are no plans to require it at this time. That could change in the future, I don't know. But as of today, there's not. But belonging to a district provides you support that you may not have otherwise. You have a support structure, you have training, you have district officers, area directors who are there to support you and help your club. So I think there are a lot of benefits, and we believe in the board that every club is best served by being part of a district, but it's still, for an online club, it's your choice.
Great, thank you very much, Matt. I see the red light. I think we need to move on to the next segment, which is actually going to be our installation ceremony. So MC Kavita, would you like to introduce that segment? Thank you. Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you, Nick. And Matt, I just want to say to you something that you just said around climate control and all that sort of thing. You're right, you're absolutely 100%. It's all about taking the message out there and using our skills. And so watch this space. But let's move on to our next segment, which is the most important part of today, if you like, and that's the installation ceremony. And that is introducing the new board, the new executive board. I'd like to say a few personal words about the executive board. Since I've been a part of Digital Communicators, it's been an absolute privilege to work with you guys. I love the innovation, I like the creativity, I like all the opportunities you create. Even today, it's an opportunity to create a program, something online. It's been fantastic. So please welcome Matt Kinsey to lead the next portion. Thank you. And are we going to spotlight all our executives? Yep. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kavita. And I'm not sure, one of my good friends is Kavita, and she always reminds me there's only 2 tones in her name. So if you use 3 tones, I apologize. Club officers are critical for the success of a club. They provide the direction and leadership for the club to help meet the mission of a club, which is to provide a positive and supportive environment where members are empowered to develop their communication and leadership skills, where all members gain personal growth, communication and leadership skills, and most importantly, self-confidence. Together, your club officers will support you in achieving your goals. The collective challenge is to make this club one of the best in Toastmasters International, helping the members achieve their goals, as well as leading the club to President's Distinguished Club status this year. Well, the officers team, and we've already got on the spotlight, each officer is obligated to attend monthly club executive committee meetings, attend your club officer training, which is held twice a year, and at the appropriate time, begin to prepare a successor to replace you in office. The first officer is your Vice President of Technology and Sergeant at Arms, Mar Cano. Mar, as Sergeant at Arms, you arrange the meeting location, which is quite interesting in a Zoom environment. Maintain any club equipment, and ensure the room is ready. Now, I guess that would mean breakout rooms here. Any greeting guests and helping the president make sure that the meeting begins on time. Mara, will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
Yes, I am, I will, and many other more that probably some people are not aware of, but yes.
All right, thank you, Mara. Yes, we're beginning to understand what that role looks like in an online environment. And so I believe that there may be some changes to the script over time. Your treasurer is responsible for keeping financial records and preparing the club budget, letting members know when it's time to pay dues, which it's time to pay dues, explaining the due structure to your members, collecting dues, and working with the secretary to ensure that the club dues are submitted promptly on time to Toastmasters International World Headquarters. Your treasurer for the coming year is Julian Saraceda. Julian, will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
Yes, I will.
Congratulations, Julian. Dak Klusky is your secretary. Secretary maintains the membership roster in attendance and submits the club officer list to Toastmasters International prior to June 30th each year. Works with the treasurer to ensure that new member application and dues get to Toastmasters International as soon as possible. Working with the treasurer to submit your club's renewal to dues to Toastmasters International on time, and keeps the minutes of each meeting as well as the executive committee meetings. Dak, will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
I will.
Excellent. Congratulations, Dak. Vice President of Public Relations. As VP of Public Relations, Pamela Benjamin will attract visitors to the club through free publicity, using a variety of means to promote the club in the community and the world, in your case, enlisting your fellow club members in public relations activities, providing them with promotional materials and ideas on how to invite guests, and regularly recognize member achievements with methods such as announcements, newsletters, emails, and articles submitted for your newsletter or for your district newsletter. Pamela, will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
I will.
Excellent. Congratulations, Pamela. Pam Rowley. Pam will be your VP of Membership. As VP of Membership, she will lead the club's membership building efforts to achieve the membership goal of at least 8 new members. While the VP of PR motivates people to visit the club, Pamela motivates the current members to invite guests, promptly giving new members application and upon receipt of application dues to the secretary and treasurer. Personally greet guests and provides them with guest packets, including a membership application. Make sure that each guest hears about the benefits of Toastmasters and gets a personal invitation to become a member, and is one of the members of your club who represents your club at the area council meeting. Pam Rowley, will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
Pam is taking a well-earned rest at the moment, but she promised me she will.
Excellent, thank you, Nick. The VP of Education. It's a not very well hidden secret that the VP of Education is perhaps the most significant officer role. I have told many people I can work with a weak president. It's almost impossible to work with a weak VP of Education. If your VP of Education is strong, your club is strong. Your VP of Education this coming year is Colette Ainskoff. Colette, as VP of Education, you gain commitments from members to set educational goals for themselves and work to make sure that they receive spots on the agenda to achieve those goals. Assure the club members are aware of the schedule of meeting roles, plan meetings that will assist members. Work with club members to keep the meetings fun and well run. Work with your members to ensure that they submit their applications for educational awards promptly. Provide educational topics at club meetings, such as those from the Successful Club and Better Speaker Series. You also represent the club at the area council meetings, and should the president be unable to preside over the meeting, you are the second ranking officer and will preside over the meeting when the president is absent. Colette, will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
I will. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Colette. And your president, Nick Lacani. Nick, as president of Digital Communicators, you are the chief executive officer. You preside at all club meetings and all club executive committee meetings. It is your challenge to see that the club adds new members and meets the needs of its current members to achieve their communication and leadership goals. You establish a club climate that is supportive, stimulating, and rewarding. And your resources include your club members, your club officer team, your club officer handbook, your area director, your division director, the district website, Toastmasters International website, and all other district officers. Nick, you hold the gavel as a symbol of the power and authority that your club has granted you during your term of office. I implore you to use it wisely and with restraint. Nick, as a member of Digital Communicators, as well as its leader, will you work with your executive team and club members to make Digital Communicators a President's Distinguished Club this year?
I will.
Excellent. Now, members of the club, your officer team has just pledged to serve this club to the best of its own ability and the best of each member's ability. To be the best Toastmasters club possible and to meet the needs of all members, your club will need active participation from each member. Do you pledge to work together with your officer team to make Digital Communicators the finest Toastmasters club it can possibly be?
Yes, we will.
Excellent. By the authority vested in me as the international president-elect, it is my sincere pleasure to declare that these officers are duly installed in their respective roles. Let's get praying everybody off of mute, and let's get a big, rousing round of applause.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys so much. It has truly been an honor to install these officers. This is one of those pleasurable moments as a member of the executive committee. Back to you, Kavita.
Can I just say?
Thank you, Matt. Yeah, they are such a brilliant bunch to work with. So a big thank you from the bottom of my heart for making this such a special evening for us, because these guys really, really deserve it. They work so hard and they pull us all along. So thank you for your time. Thank you so much. Right,
Kavita, can I just extend, Matt, I know you've got a very busy schedule. I know you're running off to another meeting shortly. I wanted to say thank you. Thank you to Lois for enabling the contact connection to be made. Thank you to you for coming and giving us your time. And good luck for not just this year, but next year. And please come back. And we look forward to seeing all the good things that you and the whole leadership team are doing. Thank you again.
thank you. Right, are we ready to move on? Yes. Right, next portion of our meeting, the next segment is, we have a keynote now, a 20-minute keynote. And he's a London-based communications expert. He's also won the District 91 Humorous Contest. He's been placed first in that and got placed second last year. The title of his keynote is Why Your Ideas Matter. So please welcome Dan McGill. Dan McGill, welcome.
Is that okay? Hear me? Great, thank you. Okay, hello. Great to be here for this event. It's been amazing so far. I'm really enjoying it. It's amazing to see so many familiar faces as well. I didn't realize so many of you came here. And of course, it was fantastic to hear Ben's speech again, wasn't it? What a speech that was. Ben won first place at the District 91 International Speech Contest final this year. And actually, I finished second. So obviously, I'm well used to coming after Ben in the order. Story of my life. Now, some people have already mentioned my background in the chat and asked me how I achieve this effect. Well, I'm actually broadcasting live from Ben's shadow at the moment, where I've been living since last May. Yeah, and it's so lonely. It's very lonely. Alexa, when does the next Toastmasters International Speech Contest start? Oh no, I forgot. She left me. She left me in May. Yeah. Okay, let's get into it anyway. I want to ask you a question. Have you ever had one of those genius ideas late at night while you're in bed? You know the kind. You're awake for hours, buzzing with excitement, and you just know that if morning could come quickly enough, this is the idea that's going to change everything. Then morning does come, and now it doesn't seem quite so clever anymore, does it? Well, I have those ideas all the time. Earlier this year, I went to sleep thinking what a great idea it would be if I started an online Toastmasters club. An online naked Toastmasters club. I had it all planned out. We would call ourselves the Unclothed Communicators. And we'd do things a little bit differently, of course we would. So for example, for us, a Zoom bomber would be somebody who arrived fully clothed, speaking politely. Yeah. Our warm-up session would obviously just involve everybody turning the heating on. And of course, we would rename table topics off the cuff in the buff. Sounds good. I even presented the idea to those lovely people at Zoom, and they have agreed to work on a brand new piece of functionality, especially for the Naked Club. I'm very excited about it. It's called Virtual Backsides. For Toastmasters who speak out to them. Not here, of course, you only get those at advanced clubs. Anyway, that's not the late night idea I wanted to talk to you about. I wanted to talk to you about a late night idea I had about 10 years ago, when I decided I would become a stand-up comedian. Now, there was only one small problem. And when I say small, absolutely massive. I couldn't speak in public. I don't mean I got nervous or my hands shook or I found it difficult. I mean, all those things were true. But also I just couldn't do it. I was so scared I couldn't even try. I remember once my boss called me into his office and said, "Dan, I want you to give a presentation for me next Thursday." And I agreed. "No problem," I said. Then I faked my own death and found a new job. Anyway, of course, the morning after the stand-up comedy idea, I woke up thinking what a silly idea it was. How could I ever be a stand-up comedian? If people were looking at me, I wouldn't even be able to stand up. And 5 years went by. 5 more years of avoiding, hiding, and making excuses. Then one day I walked into a Toastmasters club. And it sounds like the setup for a joke, doesn't it? A man walks into a Toastmasters club and says, well, he says absolutely nothing. Obviously, he's completely terrified. Now, I had no intention of talking that first night I went along. I saw 3 fantastic speeches in the first part, and then we had a break. And I remember a lady came up to me. She said, "Dan, can I interest you in a table topic?" We've all been there, haven't we? But I didn't know. I thought she was asking me out on a date. I said, "Well, it's a bit forward of you, but you certainly can. I'm free this weekend." She said no. It's after the break. It's an impromptu speech. You'll go up on stage and speak for 2 minutes. I've put your name down. Enjoy your weekend. And off she went. Now, who remembers giving their first table topic speech? I think most people do. But I don't. I remember being in the toilets just before the session started. I remember I was trying to figure out if my middle section would fit through the toilet window. And I remember it didn't. I remember walking back into the meeting room thinking, I'll just pretend I've lost my voice. And that's about everything. Except for the sound of laughter. There was laughter. People were laughing. Now, they told me afterwards that I'd proposed marriage to somebody in the audience. I don't know. It doesn't sound like me. Maybe I was panicking. Anyway, I was asked to join the club, obviously. And you know what? I was on such a high after the table topic, I agreed. Mike, the president at the time, even escorted me to the cash machine. And on the way, he asked me when I wanted to give my first speech. I said, well, never. How about never? He said, we have our humorous speech contest next week. Nothing's stopping you entering that. It would be quite something for a brand new member to give their first speech at a club contest. Then he asked me for my PIN number, withdrew £70 and took me to buy him a drink. I'll put your name down, he said. Have a nice weekend. Now, writing that speech, practicing that speech, getting into the car and driving to the club that night, they were right up there with the hardest and bravest things I've ever done. But I did do them. And I won the contest. The first prepared speech I'd given in my entire life, and I won a competition with it. I was through to the next round. Now, there were a few small caveats here. Firstly, there were only 3 of us competing. The president, Mike, who you've already met, he gave his 5 to 7 minute speech in 13 minutes and 58 seconds, so he was disqualified. Later that night, whilst letting me drive him to the pub, he explained to me that he couldn't see the timekeeper. No. I said, yes, that's because she'd gone home. There's only so long a person can hold up a red flag before she realises the last bus is due and her arm's gone numb. Anyway, that just left me up against one other man called Dan. Also called Dan. And you know what judges at Toastmasters are like? Give them the same name twice on the judging sheet and they go into a full meltdown. Their heads literally start spinning. Now, I'm pretty sure there was a mix-up because the other Dan was hilarious and I spoke about Mr. T from the 80s hit TV show The A-Team. But I suppose when we think about it, isn't it often the case that it's the person who finishes second that really should have won the contest? I'm joking, Ben, I'm joking. Thoroughly deserved. Brilliant. Anyway, off to the area contest I went. I was still terrified of speaking. But I'd also decided that people clearly loved Mr. T from the 80s hit TV show The A-Team so much that I was going to win this contest easily as well. I remember there were 6 of us speaking that day, and I think I finished 7th. It was a disaster. I didn't get a single laugh, absolutely nothing, dead silence. And honestly, I felt like giving up that night. I really did. But the more I thought about it, the more I realised that in a contest against 5 other people, yes, I'd not done so well. But in the contest with myself, the fight to find my own voice, the battle for confidence, for the first time in my life, I was winning. In the space of a month, I'd stood up in front of people and spoken for 2 minutes. I delivered a prepared speech in a contest and won. And I'd actually found the courage to show up for an area contest and speak in front of more than 50 people. I was winning. So I decided to work as hard as I could for 1 year. 1 year of speaking as often as possible, practicing as often as possible, and learning as much as possible. And then I'd come back and have a crack at the following year's humorous speech contest. I thought, if I could make such progress in 3 weeks, what could I do in 1 year? What could you do in 1 year? 3 weeks? 2 minutes? The smallest moments, the tiniest acts of bravery, they can have the very biggest impact on our lives. So, 11 months before the next humorous speech contest started, I began preparing. I had an idea which I thought was quite funny. It involved me sabotaging the previous year's winner to make sure he didn't win again, thus giving me the chance to win. That was the speech, by the way, not something I actually did. Don't worry, Ben. Anyway, I crafted that speech like my life depended on it. I practiced like there was no tomorrow. And I forced my friends and family to laugh at it like I was paying them. I was paying them. Then, in September 2018, I was ready. I even had a Toastmaster crossing the road joke. Should we do it? We could do it. Why did the Toastmaster cross the road? To make full use of the space, obviously. Why did he go back to the other side? Because he didn't like his new pathway. I entered it into my club competition. There were 4 of us competing, and this time I finished third. Third. How could I be third? You know how much I paid my friends to sit listening to that for a year? I remember afterwards, I asked my mentor what she thought, and if she had any idea why I didn't do any better. She said, I think I know exactly why you didn't do better. There was no message. There was nothing for the audience to take away or learn from. You were talking about poisoning another Toastmaster so you could win a competition, and some people might find that funny. But without a message, it also feels a little bit meaningless and cruel even. Add a message, she said. Then, why don't you join another club and enter their contest? You don't have to wait a year. So that's exactly what I did, and partly why I'm now a member of 12 clubs. I joined another club, found a message, and tried again. And the message was screaming out at me all along. Of course, we would never in a million years dream of sabotaging another person so we could win a competition, would we? But we happily sabotage ourselves on a daily basis. We have so many amazing ideas, things we want to do, dreams we want to realize. But then we tell ourselves we can't all the time. I'm not funny enough. I'm not confident enough. I'm not good enough. They say we shouldn't criticize another person until we've walked a mile in their shoes. But surely, it's our own sweaty feet that fill the shoes of our harshest critic. And that was my message. I won at the club, area, division, and the district final the following May. And 18 months after trying to squeeze out of a window in the Toastmaster toilets in Croydon, I was kind of a national champion. Incredible. Now, 2 months after that, I tried stand-up comedy for the first time. And I was terrible, truly terrible. I mean, you're getting a glimpse of it today. But I did it. This is how my opening joke went, by the way. I mean, see if you like this. I'm on a diet. My problem is I eat too much pizza. I eat too much pizza, I get fat. I get fat, I get depressed. I get depressed, I eat more pizza. I call it the dominoes effect. I know, terrible, terrible. But after that very first performance, I remember a lady, she came up to me, she said, Dan, I'd love you to come and do a 10-minute set for me at a charity night I'm running next month. I said, do you mind me asking why you chose me out of all the acts that were on tonight? She said, well, firstly, you were the only one who didn't use bad language. I found all of the other acts to be very vulgar indeed. And secondly, they're all busy that night. Anyway, I agreed and we exchanged numbers. Now, the day before the gig, I get a text message from her. It says, can I just make sure you're not going to say anything offensive tomorrow? This is a charity for sick children and there'll be lots of sensitive parents in the audience. Now, genuinely, I have a daughter with a disability. She's profoundly deaf. So I replied and I said, of course, I do actually have a deaf daughter and some of my material is about her, but don't worry, it's not offensive. At least I thought that's what I typed. What I actually typed was, of course, I do actually have a dead daughter and some of my material is about her, but don't worry, it's not offensive. Smiley face, thumbs up, wink. Now, I didn't realise what I typed. I had no clue. And she replied, I'm so sorry. That's just the worst thing that can happen to a parent. But I didn't know what I typed. So I replied, no, not at all. We've always tried to make light of it. Even on the day we found out. We all went to Pizza Hut. She replied again, Do you mind if I ask how it happened? I said, we don't know. We don't know. I said, we didn't even notice for the first 6 months. No, it was only when we were calling her and she was completely unresponsive that we got suspicious. I never heard from her again. I went along to the venue on the night, but no luck, no luck. My name was on a list of people they definitely weren't allowed to let in. I was their number 2. Just below the unvaccinated. And, well, obviously just above Prince Andrew. But since then, I've done quite a bit of stand-up and I'm getting slightly better, slightly. I've performed in London, California, Canada. I'm in Florida at the moment. I'm going to go and try some this evening. Close to Tampa, actually. I think we've got someone in from Tampa. But I'm always absolutely terrified. You know the stand-up comedian Jerry Seinfeld? There's a famous quote of his, which we all love at Toastmasters. He said, people who are afraid of public speaking would rather be in the coffin at a funeral than stood up giving the eulogy. And that was 100% true for me, 100%. He also said something else. He said that a stand-up comedian needs at least 16 years of relentless, non-stop practice before they even become proficient. He said they need a lot longer than that to become successful. Now let's see, 16 years from now, I'll probably be dead. Or at least deaf. I'm not going to be a famous stand-up comedian. I'm probably never even going to be a funny stand-up comedian. But that moment when I walk onto a stage and an audience applauds, in that moment, if nothing else, I am a stand-up comedian. I am living that late night dream I had all those years ago. You see, those ideas we have late at night, those exhilarating, crazy ideas that often seem so stupid when we wake up the next morning. Maybe they're not so stupid. Maybe they only seem it when the sun comes up and we let the self-doubt creep in. Maybe we should take a chance on them more often. I'm doing the thing I'm more afraid of than anything in the world, and in a way, I'm doing it right now. And there's no better feeling on earth, actually. I really hope that whatever it is for you, as long as it's not wrestling tigers or anything like that, I really hope that you can do the same. And just in case any of you are interested, I don't know, maybe the first meeting of the Unclothed Communicators will hopefully be happening in the next couple of months. I'm just waiting for sign off from my private area director, as we call them in the naked Toastmasters industry. But all seems positive so far. As he said to me last week, as long as you shower beforehand and you're careful with your props, the world's your aubergine. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you so much. All of that speech was so relatable from start to finish. Yes, I wanted to be a stand-up comedian. And yes, I've sat in the car before I could go into Toastmasters evening. I would sit there for at least a good half an hour, taking deep breaths. So everything you've said today is so relatable. I'm sure all the Toastmasters out there can relate to you. So thank you for your time. Thank you so much. Right, so let's get energized.